Swears and insults in Nióruais. Isha kick you after a crack. The most common swear in Nióruais is kick. Yes, I'm aware. I've heard all the jokes. It wasn't intentional, but I'm also not changing it. Anyway, kek literally means shit, deriving from Irish cack. In Nióruais, it's the most versatile cuss, occupying many phrases that in English would be better worked with fuck. For example, instead of fuck you, you say isha kick, which means eat shit, or du kick, which means drink shit. Instead of shut the fuck up, you say stall kick a bar, which means stop shit talking. Instead of I don't give a fuck, you say nevar kick man, which means I don't want shit. Instead of that's fucked up, you say isha's kick, which means it's like shit. Instead of I'm gonna fuck you up, you say for them kick shon, which means you'll be fed shit. Instead of fucking around, you say tau kick pyaula, which means having shit play. You could also say bom kick, which is cow shit, essentially bullshit, and mog kick, pig shit. Chicken shit isn't really said in yours. If it did exist, it would be quirga kick, but it doesn't. They don't really say that. Kick is the primary interjection swear. You know, like how in English you can say "ah damn it" or "ah shit" or "ah fuck." You know, you got choices. In yours, it's not really the case. Pretty much, kick covers all those bases. Ifrian means hell. It's used like in English. It replaces fuck in the equivalent phrase for what the fuck, which would be chadi ifrian. It's much less vulgar than kek. The vol means damn. It's not used as an interjection, only as a verb. It's not as vulgar as in English, so it's pretty much not vulgar at all, because in English it's like the least vulgar swear. But as a result, the vol is also never used humorously. The volson, damn you, is seen as a strictly serious condemnation. Kunk means fuck. Like with the vol, it's only used as a verb, having the same meaning as in English, a vulgar term for sexual intercourse. But that's it, it's only used as a verb. There are some phrases you can use with it. For example, kunkmiv. Kunkmiv literally translates to fuck me. You could also say duid kunkshon, which means go get fucked. And you could also say tor kunkerig, which means sore fuck everything, which is essentially god damn it. Galya means bitch. It is used pretty much exactly like in English. Makthagalia, which is son of a bitch, plural nagdagalia, is also present. Tan means cock or dick. It can be used as a derogatory name for someone, but usually it's just a vulgar term for penis. Croc means asshole. Now this one's interesting because of its history. So, croc comes from the Norse kraka, which means crow or raven. One of those. I don't remember which one. The point is, in the early 11th century, there was a notorious band of Norse rebels who were fighting against the Celtic occupation and invasion of Denmark. They called themselves the Kraka and used either a crow or a raven, whichever one it is, as their sigil. They dressed in all black, wore hoods and all that stuff, and they even successfully assassinated a Procham of Nióruais. It caught on very quickly to essentially condemn someone who is rude and detrimental and equate them to these Norse rebels. Hrvilvi means fucking or goddamn. It is used as an intensifier, like in English, that fucking asshole. So in this instance, that phrase would be Hrvilvi krak. It's seen as not very overtly vulgar. You wouldn't hear it in children's cartoons or anything like that, but it's basically an equivalent to goddamn. Then there is duothro, which means fucking, another intensifier. And this one is way more vulgar. You won't hear this on public television. You won't hear this at official speeches. If you do, it might cause a scandal. It's hardly the worst word to be said in Nióruais. We'll get to that one in a bit. But it is controversial for polite society to utter it. Last but certainly not least, as far as swears go, we have strosfog, which plural, strosfig, which is roughly equivalent to cunt in America, where it's the most vulgar word you could possibly use. Strosfog is the absolute worst name you could call someone or something. It is originally from a Norse word for prisoner of war, stridsfangi. Starting in the late 1100s, Nióruais merchants would begin taking prisoners of war from foreign wars as laborers for their ships, usually as a service whenever a ruler's dungeons were too clogged to hold more, thus gaining favor with that ruler. However, these laborers were widely treated poorly and often seen as scum of the earth by Nióruais sailors. So essentially, if you're called a strosfog, you are equated to scum of the earth, the worst of the worst. In a similar vein, although not as vulgar, We have just plain insults. These are words that would probably offend someone, but they're not necessarily vulgar. A lot of these are taken straight from Norse mythos. The Nióruais would hear stories of these things from Norse mythology and promptly reduce them. It is said that many Celtic bards were specifically instructed by church officials to reduce these things to what Nióruais defines them as now, which is significantly lesser than what they represent in the mythology itself. As an example, the Norse word Jötun refers to the ice giants. In Nióruais, it has been reduced to Getun, plural Getner, which just means brute. That's all it means, just means big brute. Trul, plural Twill, comes from troll, means a recluse, a shut-in, outcast, or highwayman even in some cases. A Nis, plural Nishi, from Nissa, refers to someone who is very narcissistic or otherwise arrogant. Ulder, from Hulder Huldra, means whore. But perhaps my favorite is Mjelnga, from Milling. So in Norse tradition, a Milling is the spirit of a deceased child who was abandoned by their parents out in the forest to die, all alone. And the spirit is vengeful. They're trying to come back and exact vengeance on the parents for doing that to them. Now this is a really dark concept. So how did the Nióruais reduce it? Well, they heard the description of what a milling is, and they said, man, that kid's a brat. So, Mjelnga means brat now. A+ Nióruais.